This is April 2nd, 2008, Burleson Public Library. This interview is for the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress. I'm interviewing, if I can remember his name, Mr. Jack Shelton. And he was born on February 22nd, 1936. He served in the U.S. Army from July 25th, 1957 to July 22nd, 1959. My name is Robert Griffith. I'm a member of the Burleson Heritage Foundation, and we're conducting this interview from the Burleson Public Library. Thank you very much for coming this afternoon. Let's just start with a couple of basic questions. Where were you born, and where did your family come from?
I was born in Blanco, Texas. That's Blanco County, just west, kind of southwest of Austin.
Okay. And what were you doing before you entered the service?
What was I doing before I entered the service? I was working up here for a building boats.
Okay.
Back in the early 50s.
Now, by up here, do you mean in Johnson County?
Yeah, no, it was right up here in Tarrant County, just this side of Fort Worth. At that time, it wasn't nothing but pasture land between here and Fort Worth.
Now, did you enlist in the service, or were you drafted?
I volunteered for an early draft in 1957.
And which conflict did you serve in?
What?
Did you go overseas, or were you here?
I was over there in Germany. No, I went to Germany in January of 1958. I was over there in Munich, Germany, and I served in the 21st Infantry Division, Company C, and I was over there for 18 and a half months in Munich, Germany, and plus my duty most of the time was driving trucks, jeeps, and buses.
Okay. Well, what kind of training did you receive?
I received basic training. When I first entered the service, I received basic training at Fort Carson, Colorado. In 1957, I went in July, and then I had to take another 8 advanced weeks in Fort Carson, Colorado, and finished up in December of 1957.
Okay. What was it like joining the military?
What was it like in the military?
Just what was it like generally in the service?
Well, one thing about it, it wasn't no war at that time, although the Vietnam War was kind of starting to brew about that time. But other than that, we did a lot of field training. We was in the field possibly somewhere around 11 months out of the year over there in Germany, which, you know, I enjoyed being over in Germany. It was something to see.
What were some of your duties?
Like I said, I was in the infantry and learning all about combat, you know, and then got out of that and got into driving jeeps, trucks, and buses.
Okay. When you traveled overseas, had you ever been across the pond before?
No, I had not. I had never been nowhere.
And what was it like kind of going overseas?
It was something different, especially, you know, getting to travel like that. I wanted to travel, and I got to travel. I've been in about 8 different countries there in Europe, and I'm glad I got to go over there under the U.S. government. And plus, like I said, I served my time over there and honorably served my time.
Well, what was it like with the culture difference?
The culture difference over there?
Mm-hmm. Any kind of language barrier difficulties?
Yes, so very much so, language barrier, and you know, you had to learn some language to be able to get around. And plus, they really didn't want us to go off base unless we were in plain clothes, because the Germans at that time still hated the Americans, because that had only been about 13 years since the war ended in 1945 when I was over in January '58.
Well, you spoke of languages. Did you learn to speak German?
Very little.
Very
just
little?
Enough to get by on, like the money and other things.
And they said that they didn't want you to go off base because of...
Well, we could if we went with several of us off base.